And welcome to Dead Synchronicity. This is going to be our next playthrough. Where shall we start? We're in the city now. We've got some city dwellers. You can talk to this old man.
Help me, please! Help me! Don't let them find me in the street after curfew. They'll take me to the refugee camp. Help me, please! But don't make any noise. There's a patrol just round the corner.
I'm looking for a place, something like a pharmaceutical warehouse. Would you know anything about that?
I'm looking for a place. Something like a pharmaceutical warehouse. Would you know anything about that?
I don't really know. There's a small medical center just outside the city limits. I suppose you mean that, right? They built it in a hurry, just knocked it together after the Great Wave. No one really knows what it's for, but there are vehicles going in and out of the place all the time. Whatever they're doing in there, they're keeping it very secret. Not even my daughter would tell me what goes on inside.
Did you say your daughter?
Yes, my daughter. My little Uma. She works there as a nurse. I'm afraid she left me. I suppose she got tired of living with a frail, sick old man like me. Because one day she simply left the house, and I haven't seen her since. It's been months now. I think she was right to leave me. These times are hard enough. You don't want to burn yourself with someone like me.
Okay, we'll do this one.
But what is it you need me to do?
It's almost curfew. I need a place to sleep. I need a place to hide, or they'll send me to the refugee camp. Don't you understand?
What is all this about a curfew?
What is all this about a curfew?
At curfew, the soldiers want the streets cleared. And the way they see it, if you're out on the street after curfew, it means that you've got nowhere to go. You don't have a home. You don't belong here. And that makes you a rat. And so they take you to the refugee camp. I can't go to the camp. Understand? I can't go there.
You need a roof over your head, and you don't have anywhere to go.
You need a roof over your head, and you don't have anywhere to go.
I used to, but it doesn't exist anymore. I owned an apartment a few blocks from here. The block was badly damaged by the Great Wave, but it was still standing.
And what happened to your home?
This morning we had to evacuate the area in a hurry. We ran out in the streets with whatever we had on. Apparently, the foundation was starting to crumble. And a few hours later, all that was left of my home was a pile of smoking rubble, with 40 years of memories buried beneath it. But I can't let them take me to the camp. I need to get into another house before the curfew. Please, help me.
We'll help him.
Okay, give me those bolt cutters. I'll see what I can do.
This house was empty, but the army has sealed it off. If I can just get this padlock off before curfew, I'll be safe. I need to get in here. But please, don't make too much noise. If the soldiers find us, they won't hesitate to kill us.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Impossible. I'm sorry. I can't do anything with this.
I need to get in there. I need to get in.
I'm sorry. I can't help you.
Help me, please.
There's gotta be something else we can do. We can speak to these.
Hello, friend. You look lost. Come over by the fire.
It's dying down, but maybe it'll last until curfew.
As long as those uniformed psychopaths don't decide to end our little get-together first, of course.
Hey, look! One of those magic bracelets from the camp. They say that place is a real hellhole. A kind of living death. So, you've come back from the dead. Do they call you Lazarus?
Well, you could put it that way.
You were saying something about a
You
curfew.
were saying something about a curfew. What time does it start exactly?
Well, it depends on the mood of the soldiers in this zone. But you know it's time to go home when they start taking their guns out of their holsters.
Today they're extremely jumpy. I don't think it'll be long before they start insulting people and hitting them with their rifle butts.
You guys are awfully hard on them. It's just their crude way of showing us affection.
Oh, shut up! In any case, you don't have to worry. That bracelet means you don't have to hide from them. You know, that's one of the privileges that comes with it.
And you? Do you people have to hide?
We try to stay out of their way. The first rule is be home before curfew. Anyone who isn't gets dragged off to refugee camp. That's one of the strictest laws the Great Wave imposed upon this city.
Do you know how things are elsewhere? Do you get news from outside?
And do you know how things are elsewhere? Do you get news from outside?
I'm afraid not. With no communications or transportation, and with the army on every corner, we are totally cut off.
Who cares anyway? When you don't know from one day to the next if you're gonna be alive, there's no time to worry about what happens 100, 1,000, or 100,000 miles away.
I understand. Why are you afraid of the soldiers? I'd heard that things function better here.
I don't know where you heard that, friend, but whoever told you that was lying. Here, things are very ugly and getting uglier every day. Everything's in short supply: water, food, medicine.
We have a surplus of just two things: misery and violence. Life is cheap here, and getting cheaper all the time, especially since the army took over.
The army. I see. And what happened to the other authorities? The politicians? The laws?
Those are distant memories from the old world, my dear. Get them out of your head, because all that collapsed like a house of cards. Since the Great Wave, no one's got any plan, strategy. We're all adrift.
He's right. The most reliable thing we have left is what you see around the corner. Armed teenagers in uniform on the streets, on the rooftops, just as scared as we are, or more, and shooting anything that moves.
I think our common destiny is to finally die of starvation, of disease, or boredom. I don't know which of the three options I find the most cruel. Who knows? Maybe the most sensible thing is to organize a group excursion and break into Suicide Park.
Suicide Park. Don't call it that. It's not funny. That name's as stupid as that hospital they built in such a hurry next to it. It's crazy. The entire city is starving and sick, and the soldiers keep those medical facilities locked up like Fort Knox.
Did you say Suicide Park? Someone in the camp told me about that place.
And the first dark stars come out to hang from the sky. We could sit and count them together, you and I.
When the sun departs from Suicide Park. Yes, I recognize the song. But what the hell is it? Is there really a place with that name?
Yes, it exists. After the Great Wave, and when things were starting to get really ugly here, the weakest among us eased their suffering with a bullet, by overdosing, or by jumping from high places. You know how it is. All those dark stars had a hard time finding a reason to go on living.
There was a terrible wave of suicides, and there still is.
The problem is at some point a problem arose. How should I put it? A serious logistical problem. Access to drugs and firearms became practically impossible. So the easiest thing was to grab a rope or a belt and go to Suicide Park after dark.
There was a time when it was hard to find a free branch anywhere in the park.
The suicides in the area multiplied at such a rate that the army closed down the park. They said for public health reasons.
For months, the only thing blooming in that park were the corpses of the hanged. The place became more like a theme park. Lots of fun for everyone.
I told you not to make jokes about that. Don't you have any respect for anything?
Of course not. That was one of the many things I lost in the Great Wave. And one of the things I missed the least, believe me.
Thanks for the chat.
Thanks for the company, friend.
Such a nice fellow. I haven't really got much there, have we? Let's go to the church. What if we can tell him to go to the church?
Send us a sign, Lord. We need a sign from you.
Hey, wait a minute. I know that voice.
Are we guilty of arousing your rage? Did we do it? Speak with your tongue of fire, Lord. Purge us with unrelenting justice. Send us a sign. Is this our doing? Are you punishing us for our arrogance? Unleash your thunderous voice, Lord. Release us from this intolerable uncertainty. Did we do it? Send us a sign.
I'm getting a strong impression that man's a fanatic and a little bit deranged. But his sermon made me curious. What could he mean by, we did it?
Did we do it? Are we the guilty ones?
I could talk to him, I can't talk to anybody else.
A few parishioners listened to the words of the preacher, mesmerized. Although I'm sure that, like me, they can't decipher the meaning of his mystical rants either.
I can speak to him.
I'm not going to interrupt him in the middle of his sermon.
Okay.
That would be rude. That must be Reverend Blake, the preacher I heard about in the camp. I don't understand a word of that man's sermon. And I'm afraid the other faithful don't either. Could that be the reason why everyone reveres him so much?
The thunderous voice of your
The catastrophe
angels
caused a
through
lot
the
of damage
gash.
to the statue's
That
pedestal.
is your sign.
The fact that the statue is still standing is a miracle. The catastrophe caused a lot of damage to the statue's pedestal. The fact that the statue is still standing is a miracle.
The lion above
Can we
the
knock it over,
flames.
maybe?
We still have time.
Not really a lot else we can interact with, is there? We can't interrupt him. Right, let's get there.
Did we do it? Are we the guilty ones?
I'm gonna speak to him again, see if there's anything I can do. Subway sign.
Let's see. I can try to rip it off. Nothing. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to get it off with my hands.
I'm gonna go up there, I think, if I can. Can speak to the old man again.
I need to get in here. But please, don't make too much noise.
I'm sorry. I can't help you.
Help me.
Can't tell him to go to the
please.
church either.
I can't quite see how to use this ID bracelet here.
Neither do I. Can I go up there?
A few buildings are still standing, but most of them are propped up or about to fall down, with a handful of city dwellers in the street that look like automatons or sleepwalkers, but there's no doubt about it. I'm on the 5th Avenue of Doomsday City.
Okay. I'll speak to these again, maybe there's something else I can get from
Can I
these
ask
guys.
you a few questions?
Sure, but make it snappy. Can't you see that we're very busy?
Okay.
What goes on inside that church? Has everyone gone completely crazy?
Are you referring to the pastor and his flock? Oh, don't pay too much attention to them. Reverend Blake is a good man. He helped a lot of people after the Great Wave. But he gradually started to lose his mind until he reached the state he's in now.
Well, I stopped by once or twice to listen to him preach. The days are long. You have to find something to do. I try to go at this time of day. There are fewer people because it's almost curfew time. The Reverend seems obsessed with that atmospheric phenomenon in the sky, and with religious themes of guilt and repentance. Although I think he's actually just talking about himself. But the most surprising thing about all this is that he has hundreds of followers. And he's attracting more and more all the time from all over the city. And they even let him into the refugee camp once in a while to preach there. People adore him.
Why does that surprise you? We've been following sane leaders since time began, and look where that got us. Maybe it's time to start following the crazier ones.
Well, that's the most sensible thing I've heard you say all day.
Atmospheric phenomenon? Are you referring to the gash in the sky? In the camp, no one knows what it is.
On this side of the fence, the authorities have come up with their own scientific term: atypical controlled turbulence in the upper ionosphere. Though I suppose that's just a fancy way of telling us that they have no idea what the hell it was that split the sky in two after the Great Wave.
It makes my blood run cold when that aberration starts to grind out that noise like a piece of rusty machinery.
I wish those scrambled little clouds up there were the worst of our problems, dear.
Oh, shut up.
Thanks for the chat.
Thanks for the company, friend.
They don't seem to be helping at all, do they? Okay. So I need to speak to him, don't I? Right, let's get back in the church. Maybe I can actually get some out of this.
The ruins of the temple, the lion above the flames. We still have time.
I'm not going to interrupt him in the middle. Seated on these disarranged pews, some people are listening to the preacher. Others just nod off. I guess they don't have anywhere else to go.
That is your sign.
We've got to wait for him to finish.
Illuminate us with your fiery voice, Lord. Send us a sign.
I prefer to hold on to it. I think this will be more useful to me.
The ruins of the temple, the lion above the flames. We still have time.
The pedestal definitely wobbles when I push against it.
Maybe I can knock it over.
Did we do it?
The
Are
catastrophe
we the
caused a
guilty
lot of
ones?
damage to the statue's pedestal. The fact that the statue is still standing is a miracle.
Illuminate us with
The
your
catastrophe
fiery
caused a lot
voice,
of damage to the
Lord.
statue's pedestal.
Send us a sign.
The fact that the statue is still standing is a miracle.
The ruins of the temple, the lion above the flames. We still have time.
Oh, hang on, what's this?
Illuminate us with your fiery voice, Lord. Send us a sign.
Back outside, I think.
A chain with a padlock. Huh, but I'm no Houdini. Let's not waste any more time on this.
Can't go on the main street. Where's the hospital? go back into the city.
Did we do it? Are we the guilty ones?
Is there another...
Did we do it? Are we the guilty ones?
Oh, what's this? Medical center. Stone fountain. Plank with message, go up there. Oh, we got a plank.
So, let's see. Impossible. It's not that it's super heavy. It's that there's hardly any place to insert your fingers to lift this manhole cover.
Can I go over there?
The park is closed down, and the
Okay.
front gate is locked shut. If I want to get in there, it won't be through the gate.
Stone fountain. Rotten
You can
fish.
smell these dead creatures from several yards away. I have no intention of picking up those rotten fish with my hands, to say nothing of putting them in my pocket.
Damp soil.
Strange. The soil here seems darker and less packed than the soil around it. In fact, the mud in this part of the ground is a bit damp and mushy. My fingers even leave marks in it when I touch it.
Can I dig it with this, maybe?
Good idea. I can try to remove the damp earth with these shards of glass. I've managed to excavate a little bit, but these shards of glass are too small and blunt.
So we
Maybe I
need
need
more.
something bigger that cuts better to make a decent hole.
Okay. Let's go back. Where can I get more glass? It's gotta be the church. That statue wobbles. Maybe now I've done that, he'll push it over.
Did we do it? Are we the guilty ones?
Can you push it now?
The catastrophe caused a lot of damage to the statue's pedestal. Is a miracle.
Illuminate us with your fiery voice, Lord. Send us a sign.
Let's see. If I wedge one of the ends of the plank under the statue's pedestal, the other part will rest directly on the base of the toppled column.
Illuminate us with your fiery voice, Lord. Send us a sign. We're waiting, Lord. Did we do it? Illuminate us. Send us a sign with your just and vengeful arm. Is this our fault? Listen! It's the fiery breath of God. The Lord has sent us his sign. And I was right. It is all our fault. We did it, and we have aroused his fury.
But what the hell's going on here?
Look, that's the sign. Forgive us, Lord. Forgive us. Repent, all ye sinners.
It's the atmospheric phenomenon I've been hearing so much about. That infernal sound coming from the crack in the sky. It's terrifying.
That is the sign. We did it. Forgive us, Lord. Forgive us. My children, God has spoken to us with his darkest voice. Haven't you heard him? But there's still time. All is not lost. We still have time. Salvation lies in the place where it all began, in the ruins, at the source. We must return to the ruins of the temple. We must return. We must.
Lunatic.
Well, look at that. Next to this enormous hunk of glass, the colored glass shards I picked up earlier look ridiculous. I'd better get rid of them.
Can we talk to him now? Where's he gone?
Hello. I heard your sermon and...
Yeah, God has shown us his sign. He has finally spoken to all of us. With his thunderous voice, he has revealed the unknown. We did it. It's all our fault. We did it. But there's still time. All is not lost. There's still time to avoid it. The head of the lion above the flames holds the key to everything.
But what is it we did?
Time's the will of God. It is his heart and his hammer. The centuries and the ages belong solely to him. The celestial empire is a divine clock. Time rotates around God. Its hands are his angels and archangels. Now I see it all clearly. How could we have been so stupid? Our arrogance had enraged him. That's what we did.
This man is definitely crazy. Nothing he says makes any sense.
I beg you, leave my brother in peace. He's very upset.
We did what? I'm sorry, but I didn't understand a word you just said.
We sullied his name. We didn't know that each second is a drop of Christ's blood, and that only he can reign over the interval, over the infinite mysticism of the fragment. Only he can reign over time with his incandescent omnipotence, and we were unable to see it. And now he is enraged, and we're to blame. That's what we did.
I still don't understand what it is we did.
Each cycle is a fluorescent gust of God's will, don't you see? Can't you see it? He reigns over the days and the hours from the inscrutable luminescence of his dwelling place. And we are just instants that slip through his fingers. Time is his, and his alone. And we tried to wrest it from him. That's what we did.
What signs are you referring to?
The dark angels of God clamor madly through the open wound that is bleeding the kingdom of heaven dry. Haven't you heard? They were speaking with a thunderous voice. God is furious. That is his sign.
I suppose in his delirium, the man has mistaken that strange sound coming from the gash in the sky left by the great wave as a sign from the heavens. He's definitely lost his mind.
Please be so kind as to leave us in peace. Can't you see that my brother is very agitated?
I assume you're referring to the atmospheric phenomenon in the sky caused by the great wave.
No, no! It's the stench of human arrogance that made the gears of the gates of hell grind. And now they're opening up like a festering wound to swallow us all. Can it be that you haven't heard it? That is his sign.
Excuse me, but I don't think that was a divine sign.
We've lacerated the sacred skin of the shroud God enveloped us in. We've betrayed him. We've stabbed him with our infinite arrogance. And you can see the mark etched on the heavens. Through that gash, Lucifer has shattered our name from on high. Satan is calling each and every one of us by name. Can't you hear it? That is his sign.
Tell me, what is it that we can still prevent?
The wrath of God, the destruction of man. There's still time. We did it, but we still have time. The key is in the ruins of the temple. We have to find the ruins of the temple. Look for the head of the lion above the flames. Bring me the head of the lion above the flames while there's still time.
But this church is already in ruins. It hardly has any walls or a foundation left. You're already in the ruins of the temple.
No, you're mistaken. Bring me the head of the lion above the flames.
That's enough. Stop tormenting my brother. He's exhausted.
The head of the lion above the flames? That sounds absurd. It makes no sense. I think it's best that I leave you in peace.
Yes, leave my brother in peace.
There's still time. There's still time. Bring me the head of the lion above the flames.
Well, I've got that big shard of glass. Let's go and dig up that dirt.
I'll do this very carefully, so that the glass doesn't break in two. Perfect. The hole I've dug is big enough to get to the other side of the fence. No, the hole is already finished. Besides, I'm afraid that if I keep digging, I'll end up breaking the glass.
Oh, hell.
Good God. There are dozens, hundreds of corpses hanging from the branches. What could have drawn all these people here? What kind of pain? What kind of desperation brought them here?
Oh, damn.
These are the corpses of ordinary people who were living their ordinary lives in their ordinary little worlds up to a very short time ago. Could any of them have imagined meeting an end like this back then? Forgotten and nameless, swaying in the breeze like marionettes. And all those savages in uniforms did was close the park. They didn't even bother to cut their bodies down from the trees. I'm afraid that tonight, there are too many dark stars to count in Suicide Park. That strikes me as disrespectful, and I don't think would do anything for me. The trees and bushes are so close together here that I can hardly push the branches to one side with my hands. The thorns in these bushes are jabbing into me like metal spikes. I'm not going to be able to open up a path this way.
Where's the crowbar? There we go.
Wait a minute. That guy is the suicide victim who was hanging from this tree. No, don't do it, please. No! Good God, I saw him hang himself.
Okay. So this...
The crowbar fits perfectly into the hole in the manhole cover. Wait a minute. I'm not going to climb down any further. It's totally dark in there, and it would be crazy to go into these sewers without any light.
Okay. Um... Oh.
I can't reach it from here. Maybe I should find a way to get to the bottom of this enormous hole first.
Rope?
As dead as that tree is, it still looks strong enough to tie the rope to. I can't reach it from here. Maybe I should find a way to get...
Maybe that. I don't know.
Getting into a punching match with this wouldn't help me at all. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Okay, we'll come back. Oh yeah, there's a sign there, isn't there?
Maybe with the help of the crowbar, I can get the subway sign off the wall.
Okay, let's see what this does.
Damn it! I've managed to tear it down, but the subway sign is broken in two. Before I go down, I'll leave the heavy stuff here, in case the rope doesn't support my weight. Underneath the surface, there must be many more of these stone things I see sticking out of the water. No doubt they're the remains of a structure that sank here. It seems like a small fragment of one of them is loose. I'll get my stuff. A small piece of sculpted marble. It's the head of an animal above what looks like flames or an open fire. Could it be a lion's head?
Someone was on about a lion head, weren't they?
Okay, Let's see if I can open this. Got it. It doesn't look like it's having any effect. Blah. It looked better from outside. Rainwater has seeped into the car. Now it's damp and mildewed. And it seems like the seat cover on the driver's side is a little loose. Let's see. I'm sure that if I tug on it a little... Good. The upholstery came off along with one of the elastic bands that was holding it to the seat.
Okay.
It's the scrap of fabric that was used as a seat cover in the abandoned car. Dirty, damp, and mildewed. I'm afraid it's seen better days. It serves its purpose to a T. If you stretch it in both directions, the band becomes longer. And if you release it, well, I'd better not do that.
Speak to him again.
Can I ask you a few questions?
I'll answer anything you want, as long...
Nothing.
Well, I'll be going on my way. Good luck to you, pal.
Just...
Yeah, it's leaving.
I don't quite see how I could use this here. Use this here? How? This scrap of tattered fabric doesn't seem good for that. It doesn't seem like a good idea.
Okay, let's talk to him again.
I need to get in here. But please, don't make too much noise.
I'm sorry.
Nothing.
I can't help you.
Help me, please.
Oh, he posters. Main Street.
I don't think I'd gain anything by using this here. This quilted fabric fits the size of the window perfectly. First, I'll take down this advertising poster.
Hang on.
I need to get in here. But please, don't make too much noise.
No.
I'm sorry. I can't help you.
Help me, please.
I need to break that down now.
Okay, let's try this.
No one else is gonna
And let's
help me.
cross our fingers that the seat cover absorbs the noise of the breaking glass. If the soldiers next door find me, they'll blow my head off without bothering to ask questions.
You've done it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm safe now. God bless you, stranger. You saved my life.
Take care of yourself, old man. And I don't have to tell you, don't open the door to strangers.
That's mine now. Right. That Reverend. I got something that he might want. Right, where is it? Broken metal sign.
The head of the lion above the flames. I think this must be yours.
The head of the lion. The head of the lion above the flames. The ruins of the temple still exist. Salvation is still possible. We can prevent it. We can still prevent it. Don't you understand? The annihilation of time. The wrath of God for our arrogance. There's still time. I have to return to the ruins of the temple. I have to go back to the ruins of the temple.
Wait a minute!
Your stick.
There's no question in my mind. This man is a complete lunatic.
I know.
So, let's see. I just made a primitive homemade slingshot.
I know, who'd want a slingshot? Who was talking about throwing rocks at soldiers in the last video? So, let's see if they're like a slingshot. That should help me a little bit.
Hello, Michael.
Hi, kids.
We got Mom out of the house. Now what about that reward?
Yes. I think I have something you might like. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. They're just kids. And this could get them into trouble. I know perfectly well what they're going to use it for, but their aim is amazing. And a little commotion on the camp fence could be a good thing for everyone. Besides, they want to do something for their father, and those pigs at the gate deserve a surprise.
What is it, Michael? Tell us, what is it?
I know it's something you're really going to like.
This is going to cause
Here
so
you
much
go.
trouble,
It's a
isn't it?
slingshot.
It's a slingshot. Thank you, Michael. With this, we'll be able to hit the watchtowers. Come on, let's try it.
Oh god, don't get
That will
killed.
teach you pigs.
Oh my god. Oh hell.
All units in Sector 12, report immediately to the North Watchtower. I repeat, report immediately
hell.
to the North Watchtower.
What's going on? I don't know. It must be something serious. Come on, let's go.
You hit him. Haha, yes. So what do we do now? I don't know. We've got to get out of here. Quickly, run.
I better take this with me.
Oh hell. Oops. Look what I can mess with.
Oh, shit. The key's not in the ignition. One of the soldiers on sentry duty must have it. Anyway, I should have figured as much. Oh, shit. Anyway, I should have figured as much.
Thanks kids, got gloves now, which means I can go through those thorn bushes. Okay, so we got gloves.
I don't think doing this would serve any purpose.
Okay.
I'm afraid I can't do that.
Okay, not them then. Bolt cutters.
Let's see what's on the other side of this hedge.
I thought he was going to put the gloves on, but okay, if he's only using the bolt cutters.
No! Please! These visions! My head!
You won't get any of his things. I won't allow it. Do you hear me?
Michael, is that you? Thank God we found you. It's me, Chris. Don't you recognize me? But there is a solution, Michael. All is not lost. There is still a possibility of salvation for us. For each and every one of us.
You have to stop this, Michael. You have to quit.
I can't do it!
It's destroying us, don't you see? It's killing us.
It's that demon inside me! I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
These visions are getting more intense all the time. The pain is unbearable. Who's Chris? Salvation is still possible, he said. Could that be true? And once again, that female voice has been haunting me since I woke up. Who is she? Why was she so distressed? What the hell happened to us? Or is going to happen to us?
What the heck?
Okay, I'll wear the gloves to cut the electrified wire. Perfect.
Can I get in?
Let's see what's down here. It's a trapdoor, and it looks like it hasn't been used in a long, long time.
Can we get in there? Dark room. What the heck?
What is this place? Where the devil am I? It seems like the small building at the ground level is just camouflage. The most important part is here underground. Are all of them dissolved? How many patients can there be packed in here? Dozens? Hundreds? This is horrible!
What's that? Soon get it. What is that? Acid.
Let's see if this grate can be removed. Perfect. It looks like this hole leads to a passageway on the other side.
This is such a dark game. But you know what? I am going to leave it here. Thank you for joining me. We've discovered quite a lot in this very dark game so far. Yeah, we're going to come back again soon and continue our journey with Dead Synchronicity.
57 degrees. Tonight, north side covered with a low of 39.